What's up, YouTube? This is Hyou for Team Rakuikai, and I'm going to give you a deck profile for my Saber deck that I ran at YCS Dallas. I did better than I thought I would. I just went and I was going to be, hey, if I win 2/3 of my matches, if I win 1/3 of my matches, I'll be happy, just because I'm not taking a deck that's going to win. We could have took a deck that was going to win. We even left our tour guides at home. That was how bad it was.
That was actually the worst thing we could have done. It's like, we wanted to enter some of the side events. It was like, oh shit, we left all our meta crap at home.
So I took Sabers and actually did pretty well. I went 4-4. I lost to two decks, mainly because I drew inconsistent. I drew really badly, and I needed. Obviously, it shows me that I need to work on the deck some more. But the other decks where I went, I was like, okay, I can see where I could have won, what happened. I just got outplayed in some of them. In the last game, round 8, I went against Darkworlds. I was tired. I was like, you know what, I'm done. Okay, now without further ado, back into the deck. This is a Saber deck. So what you're going to start with? We're going to start with 2 Hyou. I liked running it too because you said it faced turn 1, and they're like, I'm going to run into your monster. Okay, Hyou, crap. That happened against the Saber, and I prevented a 1-turn KO. 3 Empress Blades. Not as good as it used to be because a lot of the decks run monster destruction as opposed to battle destruction. So battle searches weren't as good, but I still ran it because I could crash into them on my own terms. Masochism is great in this deck, apparently. 3 Dark Souls to get around the simple destruction. I'm going to destroy a monster. I'm still going to get a search and then get a Fall Troll and recycle several times. Full Helm Knight, great card. I consider Full Helm Knight to be your primary tuner in this deck over Hyou because Full Helm Knight gives you pluses you when it destroys. Boggart Knight, core of the deck. You need to have this card if you're going to be running Sabers in any part. And then we're going to have 2 Fall Troll just because why wouldn't you? I mean, you could run 3, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to have a dead Fall Troll in my hand. On for the teching, I ran 5 tech cards. Gores, why wouldn't you run Gores? Effect Veiler, I ran at 1, mainly because I was terrified of Inzektors, tour guides, etc. I didn't want to deal with them. I just wanted like, no, you're done. I ran 2 Elder of the Six Samurai, and it was really nice because it allowed me to do first turn Shiens with him and Hyou, and my opponents were going, what? It was really funny to watch that on people's faces. And last but not least, Debris Dragon, just because Debris Dragon plus a Dark Soul in the graveyard gave me a Black Rose Dragon blow up the field, and end phase I get a search. And that was fun in itself.
Did you actually do that a few times?
Actually, yes, and they were like, you want to see, you can show my face, but he's just like, I was like, Debris Dragon, Dark Soul, Black Rose Dragon. And they were like, damn it.
Because that must have been the most random thing for you to show up into an X-Saber deck.
You don't expect a Debris Dragon.
But it ran enough targets for it, even with the Elders.
Right, Elders, Dark Souls, and then even I could use Hyou or Veiler to do some extra synchroing in the turn, and it was actually fairly efficient. Spells, I have a Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Book of Moon. Those are pretty much staple.
Why would you use those cards? Those cards are horrible.
Those are staples. You use them in pretty much every
They're horrible.
MST, I ran at 3 because I was afraid of individual traps. I wasn't so much afraid of a huge back row. I was afraid of that one card that was going to screw you over. And I only ran 1 Hunlei in this deck because I needed to make room for bigger 6s or more rooms. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to have as much back row control with only 1 Hunlei, so I need another MST. 2 Lances. Fell in love with this card. You're amazing. It was really funny because one time I was in a really bad matchup and they had a 2100 they had Captain Gold out, skill drain. So I'm like, crap, what am I going to do? So, well, no, it wasn't skill drain. He had a skyscraper, so I'm like, well, crap. So I played Boggart Knight. He let it go because he was like, okay, he's gonna use an effect and I'm gonna blow up his monster. Nope, no effect. And I was like, oh, okay. Boggart Knight attack your Captain Gold. You're gonna take 200 damage. Damage step? Lance? Shit. And then he couldn't recover from it, and I actually won that match. Enemy controller, why wouldn't you? Because one, you can use it offensively to plus off of a Full Helm Knight, or defensively to take control of your opponent's monster and prevent something from getting removed from play. They play Kaius, they're going to remove my face down Dark Soul. I tribute my tribute
Soul.
my Dark Soul, get a search during the end phase, and I have a Caius for the turn, so they can't take me. And if you're running a lot of tuners, you're going to use a Mind Control. Why wouldn't you? Those are the spells. For the traps, we got your Solemn Brigade, and I could have ran Saber Holes instead of this, but I was afraid of not having Sabers on the field and having dead Saber Holes on the field, and then having a Gores in my hand, and I was like, oh great, I'm screwing myself because I have a face down trap, I don't have a monster, and I have a Gores in my hand, I'm dead. So Warning was my choice, and honestly, it actually paid off because sometimes I had Warning and I didn't have a monster. So Torrential Tribute, ran at 2. And I only ran 1 Gauntlet because once again I was afraid of the inconsistency where I had to have an X-Saber on the field in order to use a trap, and I was afraid that it was going to be more often than not that I didn't and I had the trap.
But it did still come in handy?
Golems came in handy. If you're going to run Sabers, there's no reason to not run Golems. However, how many you run is completely up to you, and I wouldn't run more than 2. And last but not least, Fiendish Chain, because hey, you get a big monster. Oh, great. Now what's going to happen? Fiendish Chain, as long as it has an effect, which most monsters do nowadays, you're good. And that was the main deck. Extra deck, I kind of misorganized it when I was going through it right.
You might as well just put it all together. Just put it on the field no matter what it is.
Okay, so I had a Nishuria Barkion, Full Helm Knight plus Dark Soul. This won me games in itself because several times they had 1 face down trap, and they've already used a Judgment, they've already used a Warning, they still had 1 Warning in their deck, and they had 1 face down. So I played it, I made the gamble, and lo and behold, the face down was a Mirror Force or a Torrential Tribute, and won me the game more or less. Zen Mains ran enough 3s. It was a good defensive. I think I only used them once in all 8 matches, and that was against. I can't remember what that was against, but I didn't win that match. Gotems. Another one. Remember that funny face I did earlier? It was the same kind of expression when I played a Darkworld deck, and he had Graph on the field. I still lost that game, but he was like, really? You're going to beat me by 100 attack points? So I was able to stall him. Unfortunately, they were able to stall me out because Graph is such bullcrap. Black Rose. Debris Dragon, Dark Soul, Black Rose. Great. Souza, you need him since he's the best 7-star that you're going to have in this deck can easily make. You got Bogart, you play Full Helm, you get Souza. Souza can has a Catastrophe effect or an immunity to trap cards.
And how was Souza for you in general?
Souza was actually very useful because it gave me enough attack points to get around a lot of things, and that I didn't use his effects at all during the tournament. But I was still being able to go into a 7-star with Bogart Knight instead of just going, okay, I'm going to play Bogart Knight just so I can get a second monster, just so I can get Fall Troll, just so I can get another one, and then having the Full Helm Knight or the Bogart Knight on the field as a 1900 beater, I was actually had an option to go into. So if I didn't have a Fall Troll in hand, Gaia, the Force of the Earth. This is what I took out my second Hunley for because he's beefy. 2,600 attack points compared to 2,300 attack points. People aren't setting back rows anymore. They don't have the huge back row in their decks because they're afraid of heavy storms. So Hunley is so much less live to want. So you're going to want something with more attack
And then
points.
even if they set their big back row, they're probably going to block the summon anyway.
Right. If they have a big back row, they're going to Warning it. They're going to Starlight Road it. They're going to do something to it, and it's not going to get off. So I needed the extra attack points with him or with Archeon down there. Brionic, you run 6. You can make 6s. Why wouldn't you? Catastor, Shien, Utopia. Didn't use Chimera Tech at all, but I ran him because I had 2 Cyber Dragons. Had a Scrap Dragon, Colossal Fighter. I didn't use either one of these, and Chariot Beast because, once again, why wouldn't you? And that'll be all for now because I think I'm out of time, and my side deck isn't all that impressive to begin with. But thanks, YouTube. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. Have fun with it.